Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's live. So just imagine if you walked into the kitchen and remembered why you were going there, or your keys, or pretty much anything. So today I want to talk about brain fog and how it seems very common, but it's actually not normal. So one of the things that we want to look at is, where does it come from? How do we get rid of it? And why am I constantly affected by brain fog? So for everybody who's new to the group, welcome. We're super excited that you're here. My name is Penny Hounsome. I'm a holistic health and lifestyle coach. And together with Coach Lisa Balston, we host this group for you. So just a little housekeeping. In the guide sections above, if anything you're looking for, whether it be tutorials, any of our past lives, and also we have a bunch of workouts, recipes, and freebies in there for you guys to like work through and help you along in your wellness journey. So one of the things that people always assume is that brain fog is part of aging. It's common, so they feel that it's part of menopause, or it just is. And I get this all the time. It's like, well, it's just because I'm old. Well, quite frankly, unless you're 99 years old, you're still not that old. So when we look at brain fog, it's actually a stress response. And the reason why I chose to talk about this week is that, one of the questions that we ask our women when they're coming into a program or doing any sort of work with us is, when you're setting goals, we ask you want to get clarity about what you're doing and what's happening in the future. We always ask the question, what has had to have happened in order for you to reach the goal? Now, for most people, they don't even know how to answer that. So we get a lot of surface answers, and we get a lot of, well, I have to change my eating, or I don't know. So here's the problem when you're suffering from brain fog, is that you don't have the clarity in order to set the goals that you want and follow through. So, when we talk about losing weight, body fat, sticking to a training program, changing your nutrition, following a meal plan, when your stress level and anxiety levels are high, it creates this imbalance, which is actually what's creating the brain fog. So when we look at how do we handle that, if we look at your stress levels are already chronic or they're high, and then you're not actually doing the things you need to do day to day, that in fact creates more brain fog. So now you become having this vicious cycle of going around and around all the time, thinking, oh, it'll just get better, or it's just part of menopause, it's just part of aging, and this becomes the crutch. So that when you're feeling that that's just a crutch, then nobody's looking at the key reasons why, and no one's solving the problem. So what's going to happen then is you're just going to live with it, but understanding that it's actually a symptom. It's a symptom of gut imbalance. It's a symptom of burnout. It's a symptom of overwhelm. It's a symptom of anxiety, in which, of course, all of these things are a symptom from stress. And everybody, unfortunately, they take this conversation of like, well, it's just stress. And it's a word that gets bounced around like, oh, look, it's yellow. Okay? So, unfortunately, we look at our stress as just part of the life. And that because it's high and it's been constantly high, we don't even understand what it feels like for that stress level to come down, so that we're no longer living in that. So when we ask you what your goals are, and you're sitting there like, I don't know, because you honestly don't. So when you're looking to make a decision about how you want your health to look, the brain fog that most people are suffering with takes over. So, for an example, you're outside on a foggy day, it's really dense, and you're like trying to see the forest. Can you see the forest? No. So, you're just going to meander through the fog and kind of hope that you stay on the path, and at some point, you might find the forest. So, this is what's happening when we're looking at brain fog and goal setting, because they can't go hand in hand. So if you don't have the clarity to see where you want to go, then it's very difficult in order to get there. Okay, so what we want to look at is things that you can do in order to make that change. So it comes down to, what kind of sleep routine do you have? Are you valuing your sleep, or are you valuing staying up watching TV? Are you valuing your sleep, or are you like, well, I should clean up, or I should do the dishes, or I should, right? Like, what, fill in the blank, because everybody's going to have something that they think that they should be doing. But in reality is, if you actually spent a week to two regulating your sleep, because reality, ladies, it takes 2 weeks, almost 3, especially if your sleep is out of alignment. It takes 2 to 3 weeks for you to get your body trained to go to bed at a regular time and to wake up at a regular time. And that includes Saturday and Sunday, because your body does not know that it's Saturday and Sunday. It just knows that it's another day. So things that we want to look at in order to clear the brain fog is to actually start journaling out what you think might be the problem. Okay, so everybody's like, well, I think about it. So think about this as a visual. If I have a bunch of water and that's my thoughts, and I'm just going to let them pour out into my hand, am I going to be able to hang on to those thoughts? Or if I took all my thoughts and I poured them into my bottle, then I would have them. And I would be able to hold them and contain them and then make sense of them. Okay, so when we look at our stress and anxiety, it comes from the thoughts that we have. So if we're, overthinking, overworked, feeling, those emotional blocks that we like to ignore, these are all contributing factors to brain fog. So what we want to do is start journaling. We want to also take a look at what we're eating, when we're eating, because if your body is already under stress, and then you wake up in the morning and you're feeding it a bunch of caffeine, whatever source that is, that's adding to the stress because your body hasn't recovered. And then you're, not giving it the vegetables and the fruit and all the things that are natural that your body requires in order to feel good. I'm not going to say healthy food, because fruits and vegetables are just food, people. Just normal food. It's all the other things that gets added in there, anything processed. If you're, going to Starbucks and you're like, great, I'm going to have a great big giant coffee, or I'm going to have a muffin to go with that, or maybe you'll like a piece of bread, or whatever the thing is, if you're buying it and you didn't make it yourself, it's processed. So those add into your gut health. When they add into your gut health, they contribute to the brain fog. So when we talk about how we can change things, as we get older, you don't have to have all the symptoms like that women in menopause have, or people who are older and they forget. Your brain is also still a muscle. So you have to work it. Learn a new language, do a puzzle, start coloring, add a hobby into that's something that makes you think. So, take a writing class, start doing poetry, sing songs, learn an instrument. So these are all the things that you can add in that are, also, if you don't like any of those, Google hobbies and come up with what, try one of those. So these are things that are going to help with your brain so that it gets stronger. And then we look at adding more fruits and vegetables in and water so our gut health is better. And then we look at our sleep routine so that we're, on a schedule, much like you would put a baby on a schedule, and they're much happier when you do that. Our bodies are the same. And then take a look at what your brain fog is like. Because reality is walking into a room and not remembering why you're there might be one of the biggest social media jokes, but it's actually not something that you should be that you should be experiencing. So if you're having this brain fog, you have to look at the stress levels, the anxiety levels, the burnout levels, and how much overthinking and overwhelm. All of these are the same circle, so they all go together. So I'm going to keep this short because my Wi-Fi seems to be bouncing and the video is a little bit distorted. So I had more to say, but I'm going to I'll give it into my next live. So for those of you who are watching, thank you very much. And I'm going to leave you this question. How often do you walk into a room and forget why you've done that? So what we want to see is how many of you are actually experiencing brain fog, and what are you doing to try to combat it? So I gave you guys a lot of examples of things that you can add in to your day. Try one of them and then come back to this post, come back to the video and let us know how that helped you. Whether it was your sleep routine, whether it was water that you included, whether it was your fruits and vegetables, or if it was journaling. So pick one, try it for a week, and then come back and let us know how that worked. So guys, again, sorry that it's short, but I can see that the Wi-Fi is bouncing terribly, so